Well, today's attack in London has provided yet another reminder, as if we needed one, of the danger posed by radical Islam. Ayaan Hirsi Ali has extensive experience with the dark side of that religion. She was raised in Somalia and later Kenya as a devout Muslim, but later risked her life by becoming an apostate and helping to create a documentary criticizing Islam. She says the religion must undergo a reformation. She says President Trump's travel ban has the right idea, even if it was implemented badly. Ayaan Hirsi Ali joins us tonight. Thanks a lot for coming on.
Thanks, Taka, for having me.
So why is it that so many on the left internationally, in this country, in Great Britain, all through Europe, have so much trouble coming to terms with the religious component of this violence?
I don't know. I acknowledge, as you do, that it's masochistic, it's stupid. And I think that if you look at the Islamists, they don't go to the liberals and say, thank you so much for letting us, take over. We'll stop terrorizing you. They don't do it.
So what you're saying is the Islamists don't want sensitivity above all. That's not their goal. No,
the Islamists want thing. They want one thing, and that is a Sharia-compliant society and eventually the world. That's what their aim is. It sounds crazy to you and me and everyone else, but that's their objective. And they want to get there through dawah. This is an infrastructure of indoctrinating people into accepting it, and other ways of intimidating and, forcing them to do it, and jihad, violence. And whoever is in their way is their enemy. And it doesn't matter how nice the liberals are, how accommodating and obliging they are, that's the objective of the Islamist. And if you don't understand that, then I don't think you should be in the business of making legislation or in the business of, the leadership, in thought leadership, because you're just incapable of understanding that problem.
Well, that would disqualify virtually everyone in charge of making policy in this country, except for about 4 people. So it's interesting that you say
not
that.
Everyone.
but most. I mean, there is this feeling that we don't have the moral standing in the West to criticize Islamism.
And they remind us that we don't have that moral standing because the Islamist sees non-Muslims and non-Muslim ideas, even non-Islamist ideas, as illegitimate, as against the idea of God.
Yes.
And I think we empower them because every time we appease and appease and appease, they see that as, they see God's hand, the way their perception of God, they see God's hand making it easy for them to advance their agenda. They don't see that here, is a decent, civilized society that is trying to understand them and give them time.
Yes.
And try to persuade them to put their weapons down. That's not how they see it.
Fascinating. So you had qualified support for President Trump's travel ban. Why?
Well, I think I listened to his speech in Youngstown, Ohio, when he was a candidate, and he, first of all, named the problem. He said, we are at war with radical Islamic ideology, and he put that ideology in the same sequence as fascism and National Socialism and communism, and he said, this is the ideology of the day. And so he went, with the travel ban. It was clumsily. He should have had a few lawyers look at it, legislators. Yes. He should have done it differently. But it doesn't take away from the fact that there are sometimes failing or weak states. And it's incredibly difficult to vet people who are coming from there. He has intelligence and information that we don't have. So if he says, these are the 7 countries that I'm going to impose a temporary travel ban on until we have sorted out a vetting system, and that is vetting for ideology, then I don't see any problem with that. And I wouldn't look for all sorts of hidden things behind that.
It seems like getting people from foreign countries, not just Islamic countries, but maybe especially Islamic countries, to buy into the values of the West is really important. Do you think we do enough?
I don't think we do enough. I think, again, to go back to that, the president, when he was a candidate, to go back to that speech, he did mention assimilation. He said we have to have, Muslims, foreigners, aliens to come and assimilate. They must want to come here, and they must want to love our society. And I think we don't do enough. In fact, in the West, and I've been here for 20-something years, I forget that long, what I see is an apology and an apologetic attitude toward Western civilization, and that is wrong. Then you are seen as weak, and you're inviting aggression if you do that.
Yes. Our leaders hate themselves and the country they run, and so they inculcate that in new arrivals. It was wonderful to have you. That was really wise. Thank you.
Thank you.